Hmm.
Hi. Yep.
Hello. Love it. Oh, I feel like Betty Davis on Dick Cavett. How exciting. Yeah. Well, what a lot of what I put online is definitely character based, but it's sketch comedy. I would say it's intellectual and simultaneously very crude. I like to toe the line. I have one sketch where you get all the humor if you know about Lyndon Johnson's presidency, and one where an HR manager talks to her employee about how much she loves to eat farts. So we toe the line of intellectual, highbrow, and then very crude, which I like. It makes me laugh. Very stupid.
Yeah.
Hmm. A little
That's really
bit, a little. Yeah, I'm a huge history nerd, so I think a lot of that stuff I try to draw from just because it makes me laugh, and I feel like if it goes over people's heads, so be it. But the people who like it really gravitate toward it, and they seem to enjoy the. LBJ had a huge Johnson, so people like jokes about that. He called it jumbo. That's a historical fact.
I did not know that, so I've learned
Yeah,
something.
he used to whip it out at the urinal apparently, and he had to have his pants specially tailored because it was just that big. So yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I did. I certainly did.
Ben Franklin had all sorts of weird theories about like how men need to ejaculate a certain amount, or like the poison will build up in their body.
He
Like
is
he
correct.
wrote, yeah,
That old syphilitic whoremonger Ben Franklin. I love it.
yeah. So he has like writings on the subject about how many times a man should relieve himself.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So my story begins right outside of Philadelphia in New Jersey. That's where I grew up. Shout out to Philadelphia, go Birds. But no, so I was the kind of kid that put on like variety shows in my living room. I'm sure I mortified my Irish Catholic parents. And then I gravitated toward performance very early as a kid. So I did a lot of theater, musical theater, straight plays, stuff like that. I did that all through high school. I didn't major in that in college just because I had an academic scholarship. So I focused on that. And then I just said to hell with it. I moved to New York and I started to perform. I loved improv at first. I got really heavy into sketch comedy. I did like all the levels at the UCB, rest in peace, the UCB. And I did all that. I did some off-Broadway theater. I worked with a couple theater companies. And then I didn't get tired of it. I just said, I kind of want to start doing my own thing. I have this comedy. I have these characters that I want to start branching out with. So I started to do stand-up comedy. I won a competition really, really early on. Like I was not ready for like winning a competition in stand-up at all.
Oh, wow.
And then, the pandemic hit and like everybody else, for me, performing is very cathartic. I love it. It's relieved stress, even if nobody sees it. Like it was making me laugh. I have a bevy of awful wigs, as you can tell, and I had them for no reason at all. And I
you just had them laying around.
So here's a little plug. Wig City. I love Wig City. They have the worst women's wigs. They're supposed to be worn by people. They're supposed to be worn, and I'm just like, holy shit! Like if you got near a candle, your head would melt. But I love the terrible 1970s short styles, as you can tell. That's what I gravitate toward. And I was bored, and my friends were like, "Yo, you should check out TikTok." And I thought, in my mind, because I'm old, I was like, that's just for teenagers that do like dance routines. I had no idea there were comedians on this app. So I started to make little videos, and people slowly but surely really like the characters. And that's just kind of grown into its own thing. I never planned on doing sketch characters, but they're fun for me to write. People like them, and I've met a lot of cool people. So I'm just kind of riding that wave for right now.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like after watching all your videos, you kind of seem like a man that just walks around with like 40 middle-aged women from different regions with thick accents just screaming to get out of you.
Yeah. You should talk to my family because it does not turn off. I talk to myself in different accents around the house. Like but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was sharing it with my friends. I don't put out videos every single day because I feel like that's fucking exhausting, pardon my language. Yeah. But also, I only put out things that like make me laugh. And I have a very twisted, dark sense of humor, and I definitely have attracted people that have a darker sense of humor. I would send them to my friends, and they'd be like, "Yo, you are sick. Like this is so sick. I can't believe people are watching this." And I was just like, it makes me laugh, to pretend to be like a 63-year-old park employee in Florida, like basically working in Mad Max. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. No, you're sick. You're sick in the head, dude. No, Tom, you're mentally ill if you like my Yeah.
That's actually a common theme on this show. Everyone's like, yeah, I have mental illness, and so I do comedy, and you should go to therapy if you need to.
I don't know any mentally sound comedians. I'm just going to throw that out there. I mean, personally, me, I know like they all kind of should be seeing someone.
Yeah.
Therapist, Fight Club, anything. A bit of column A, a little bit of column
B. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. New York socialite Helen Kamnica, of course, yeah.
Yes.
No, I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you. I don't have the strength. It's too late at night. She's already a quart of grain alcohol deep into her day. Whenever she blacks out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it just harkens back to what I said a little bit earlier. I do this for fun. You know, I don't get paid for this. It's really, if something like, I'll literally be in the shower and I'm like, oh my God, that would be so much fun to do. And I'll just sit down and I'll just like write a legal pad's worth of jokes about it. But I get a lot of messages being like, where's Helen? Where's the new Loretta? Where is this? Like every day I get messages being like, where's my comedy? Where is it? And I'm like, I don't have anything to sell to you today. So that gets a little tough, you know, people, but that's really just me taking on the pressure of being like, I'm letting down my internet friends. Like, no, you know, who gives a fuck? But no, so the demand gets a little tough. But you know, I just kind of roll with it. I try to, you know, just experiment, have fun. I did a really unpopular Helen once where she has a feud with Zsa Zsa Gabor, and people were like, who the fuck is Zsa Zsa Gabor? And I was like, I hope I'm educating you fools, because that video made me cackle. And I was like, all right, you win some, you lose some, Sean. You know, you're not going to win every one. But
learn your history, Gen Z.
Right? She 99 years old, because only the good die young, and she has as many marriages as Liz Taylor, and she slapped a cop, and she was married to a German prince. Look up Zsa Zsa. But yeah, no, I mean, so I think the demand sometimes and the messages I get, that can be a little tough, because I'm just like, bro, I'm doing this for free. And again, I am mentally ill, so I'm not up for it every day.
Yeah.
But mental illness. Yeah. I have a beard to trim. I have things to do. Thank you. Many years of trial and error. It used to be jacked.
Well, I'm really glad you managed to work around the beard for your semi-drag. I would almost call it half-ass drag, but it's not.
The historical term, or historical, like it's like when you didn't really get rid of a beard or body hair, they used to call it skag drag. And they still do, because there's actually some pretty prominent drag queens that do still have a beard. Obviously they do much more makeup and much better wigs and much better performance than I do. For me, I thought it didn't really occur to me to shave the beard for the character. And I was also just like, no one's ever brought it up. Like, that's the beauty of Gen Z. No one's ever said like, that lady has a beard. Because it's like, well, yeah, there are ladies that have beards and women have facial hair, and who gives a fuck? Nobody's ever said anything about it. And people like are often like, I kind of forget that the beard's there. And I'm like, yes, awesome. I'm glad that the beard just disappears, because I'm not shaving it for a minute-long TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're not getting paid. Like, maybe if there's like an OnlyFans situation and someone's like $1 million for you to shave the beard on camera.
They're terrible businessmen if they're giving away $1 million, or well, I don't know, they just have insane amounts of wealth and that's nothing to them.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd be like, yeah, for sure. I will send you the beard clippings for $1 million.
There you go. That's good. There could be a market for that. There's enough perverts out there with money.
I get asked for feet pics all the time. Feet pics are all the rage in gay Paris. People love feet, dude. Well, I mean, again, I don't judge anybody's kink, but I get inundated with feet pics. I have requests.
Yeah.
I don't feel special.
No one's ever asked me for feet pics. Do I look like I have gross feet?
No, you look like you have beautiful feet.
Thank you.
Beautiful feet.
Notice that's how I turned everything to me.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, for me, stand up is all about storytelling. That's how I do it. I don't have necessarily like a one setup, one punchline. A lot of comedians can have that. It's not my thing. I perform my stand up. So I do a lot of voices. I, try to like execute all my theater background to tell a comedic story to people. TikTok is interesting because it's literally like when you were in high school and they're like, you got to grab them with your first line, like you have to get them with that headline. You have literally, according to the algorithm videos that I've seen, you have like 3 seconds to get people's attention. Otherwise, they just give you a thumb and they swipe. And the
Yeah.
longer you hold people's attention on that app, the more they'll pump your video out to people. So, obviously, like a video of like a cat or a dog doing something cute, like people will watch that. But comedy is hard because you have to hit them with basically a headline that tells them exactly what the sketch is going to be about. And hopefully your jokes can keep them there the whole time. I'm a little bit luckier with my main three characters because people will give me the benefit of the doubt a little bit more. But I still try to hit somebody who's watching it for the first time with like, this is what the sketch is going to be about. So you're really playing, you really have to like use your time very, very wisely on
Yeah.
TikTok. People love them. I love them. Yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah. I mean, TikTok hates me, by the way. Just
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah, like they hate. They try to take down my videos all the time. They don't
Oh no.
show it to anybody. Like, oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah. You can tell. You can tell. And I talk with my other foul mouthed comedians. I curse. I talk about sexual things. I make very adult R-rated videos. And they try to keep it a platform for kids, which I understand. I mean, I really do. I never said I was a role model, to quote Natalie Portman,
Yeah.
So I'm not for kids, and I know that. And it is an app where there are a lot of children, so I understand why it necessarily my more explicit videos are not mainstreamed. I don't take it personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also, I'm no prude, okay, by any means, but like I see some of these videos and I'm like, this is inappropriate for kids. Like, there's a lot. I mean, I have a few bones to pick with the good people at TikTok corporate. Because there's a lot of stuff where I'm like, who knows who's watching this? And these are just innocent teenagers that are putting out stuff that could be construed as, in my opinion, very sexually explicit. Not to get too deep, but there's some stuff where I'm like, holy hell, like this is not just a cutesy dance video. This is inappropriate.
Yeah. Oh
There,
no.
there's a personal trainer that I've seen multiple times, and I'm like, nobody is writing down your workout routine, sir. You are in tight shorts, and that's it. And like everyone's just watching you. Like he's like on a squat rack only, and I'm like, you only do leg day? Like what?
He's
But
just
yeah,
a guy with huge legs and then just a tiny torso and arms.
tiny, tiny little arms, huge legs. It's one of my all-time faves. Are you saying that you condone driving while intoxicated? I never said I was a role model. It's one of my favorite quotes. Yeah. No, I think it's accurate. I mean, I don't take myself too seriously. You know, I make my number one rule of comedy is it makes me laugh. I write it down, and if people get the joke, that's great. If it goes over people's head, hopefully they stick around for the other jokes that make them laugh. Again, I don't try to do anything. I'm just like this. I'm a highbrow intellectual Dennis Miller-esque referential comedian. No, if
Yeah.
I find a reference that makes me laugh, that's great. Did I write a sketch the other day where a woman talks about breaking into someone's house and cleaning her apartment and then beating the shit out of her? Yeah, I did. So, you know, that happens. Loretta is multifaceted.
She's a complex woman.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's a surprise.
Oh my God, that'd be my nightmare. Like someone you walk off stage, someone's like, hey, can I talk to you real quick? Because I have some tips for you.
I have notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my one of my main inspirations is actually, you know, just to bring up Baltimore again, is John Waters.
Oh,
You know, not everybody likes John Waters. I love John Waters. So to me, it's always like that's a person that stuck to their guns. They made something that they thought was funny, was crude, was controversial, but they found a niche of people that are like, I love that person. And to me, I would rather have a dedicated like cult of fans than be mainstream and try to make everybody laugh. You're never going to make everybody laugh. You're never going to make everybody laugh. You could have 1,000 people and, you know, only make 999 laugh, and that one person gonna be like, meh, I didn't think he was
yeah.
that funny. You know, you're never gonna make everybody laugh because, like you said, humor is incredibly subjective. No. Yeah, I mean, don't lose yourself. You're all you've got. I think that's paraphrasing Janis Joplin. I didn't make that quote up.
Oh, okay.
I
We
did
we wouldn't have known.
He plagiarized Janis Joplin.
I'll tell you who Janis Joplin is later.
It's a Muppet. It's the Muppet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, sometimes the only real negative for me, just because like I'm such like a secretly sensitive Pisces of a comedian, is when people try to use the Helen Cumlicker voice like with me to joke around, and they're like really really mean
Oh.
about like my appearance and my comedy, and they're just like, where the fuck you ugly wide faced motherfucker, and I'm just like, oh God, I'm not really Helen. So that can get tough. Sometimes, you have to set up boundaries. I've learned that, my personal Instagram that I've had for years turned into a professional Instagram. So, you have to set up boundaries with people. I would say the most positive and the most eye-opening to me was that, during the pandemic, I was laid off from my restaurant job that I had had for years on the Upper East Side. And it was really tough. And I would get really, really kind of dark, but also very inspiring messages from people that were going through like way, way, way more than I was going through. I'm a single man with no kids, and I was getting unemployment. And there were people that would reach out to me and just be like, hey, like my life is falling apart. Thank you so much for just, 55 seconds of making me laugh. Like your videos completely made my week. I watched them over and over and stuff like that. I was just like, I did not expect to get messages like that from people, but I've gotten like really, really deep, heartfelt messages from people. And it's just like, I'm just doing like, again, crude, stupid stuff. But if it like the most beautiful messages people have sent me.
Oh,
because it's been a hard year. It's been a hard year for people. I really count my blessings that like, I kind of just have to look out for me. Like I have to support me as a person. But people that have families and kids and not getting the unemployment or, trying to scrape by because they're still working. I could not imagine. And I'm so grateful that my stupid little videos kind of maybe gave them a little escape for under a minute.
Yeah. I mean, that's the goal. I actually, one of my friends bought one of the bigger performance venues in the city right before the pandemic, and she's got 2 kids. And she and her husband, she's a bartender, her husband's a social worker, so they took a huge gamble. And I do know, like, I discovered your videos through him because he watches them all the time.
Wow.
They're in a rough spot.
Yeah.
So, it's like the power of comedy, kind of, it lets us escape a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the beauty of performance. I sometimes feel a little guilty because I'm like, I should be helping people more. I'm just like doing something that makes me laugh, that I enjoy. But, I mean, people have, since the beginning of civilization, have stood around and made people laugh and entertain them. So it does serve a purpose in humanity, I think. Not to get too serious. Yeah, for sure. Well, so Helen Cumlicker is based on 2 very real women that I used to wait on.
Oh.
They, I won't say their names, but my coworkers know who they are. Working on the Upper East Side was, I mean, literally, you could film our nightly service and make a TV show out of it. I just jokingly thought it would be really, really funny if someone's last name was like Cumlicker or something really crude, but it was spelled like it was like an old Dutch last name. So that's it. But it really, I mean, again, mean old woman and mean rich person is such a popular trope. Like, I'm not reinventing the wheel with this character. It's just influenced heavily by 2 very real women, and the way that all my guests would behave on the Upper East Side, because they live in a bubble. They don't, they literally, I mean, true story. I once heard an older woman who was just decked out in diamonds say because the restaurant was on 64th Street. And she was just like, my son moved to 86th Street and I guess I'll just never see him again. And she was 100% serious. Like he moved 20 blocks north into the 80s. And she was just like, well, that's it. like because they live in this little bubble and they're never told no, and there's always a solution, and that's where like a lot of the humor comes from, where it's just like, okay, like let's make this work. And I would always kill them with kindness. And I basically just played butler, which they loved. But yeah, it's so that's where Helen comes from, is my experience working for the past 3 years on the Upper East Side of Manhattan.
Wow.
Oh yeah. I mean, I make fun of them, but I also love these women because they are fabulous.
Yeah.
And they are truly like the ladies who lunch. They are clinging on. Our society completely discounts women as they age, and they are made to feel invisible, basically. You can tell that they used to be like super hot, like it girls. They, have very rich husbands. They're decked out. They're always so made up. And I would always, flirt a little bit, charm them, try to like win them over because, they're out and they're having a good time. And I'm just like, they are just fully ignored by society. And, let's just like let's try to like make them have a great night out instead of like making them be angry because of their situation in our society.
And I feel like when you do Helen videos, like she's a character with such a specific past that it's really cool when you juxtapose it with like a modern setting. Like your video where she wishes all homos happy pride. And you can just tell like she's like trying to get with it, but not quite there yet.
Not quite there.
Yeah, she's trying.
Yeah.
It's like my relative who called the mayor of Baltimore well spoken during the uprising. Like it's like, I know you think this is a good thing. I know.
Microaggressions.
Yeah, a little bit. But also, so I was wondering, and it might just be a product of TikTok because I feel like it just the format speeds up the pace of skits on there, but there's like a vaudeville quality to some of your videos, I feel like.
For sure.
Is that on purpose, or do you think that's just like the medium has brought that there?
Oh yeah, no, I love cabaret. I love vaudeville. I think that just naturally happens because it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
And I think that tempo works.
Yeah.
I do a lot I try to do the editing. I go through and I replay each slide a lot, and I'll do different takes and see what works while I'm still in character. And then I try to edit it to catch people by surprise so that they keep watching, but also because I like the element of surprise a little bit. I like close-ups on people. They always make me laugh, just little stuff like that. But yeah, 100% vaudeville. That actually I think that was like my original TikTok bio.
Oh, really?
Was vaudeville performer.
Okay.
Yeah. Vaudeville needs to make a comeback.
I mean, I like in college, I took a comedy class. My professor was making the case for Gilmore Girls being vaudeville style comedy, but
I've just started watching them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts on Gilmore Girls. My friend, I wasn't feeling too well like 2 weeks ago, and my friend was like, he loves Gilmore Girls, and I would have never suspected him to enjoy Gilmore Girls. So I was like, I'll give it a try. And now I have to watch it. It's like it just gets worse and worse and worse, and these characters get so unlikable.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I can't not watch now. I need to see what happens. And I give updates on my Instagram stories. I was literally watching it earlier today after the gym, just because, I can't stop.
Yeah. Well, if you ever
Gilmore Girls. Yeah.
Yeah. If you ever need someone to talk like which boyfriend's the best, like that was a very solid piece of my like high school years, was rewatching reruns of the Gilmore Girls.
Well, do you agree that Rory is a fucking monster?
Oh my God. Yeah. If you plan on watching the revival, she gets
That's what everybody says. Everybody's like, yo, you don't even know, Sean. You have no idea. Okay, yeah. I'm psyched. I just started season 5. I've been giving updates every time because I'm like, holy shit, it just gets worse. These people. And I don't know why Emily is the villain. I don't get it. But anyway, getting back away from Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, getting back to you, the important thing.
I'd like to discuss it with a pro. Yeah. For sure. It's a little bit easier for me because I just need to fill a minute. I could obviously, I always want to expand. I wish they would let me film for like 3 minutes because I would like to maybe slow it down a little bit, give people time to breathe, read more. But I just try to hit them with the jokes, with the theme of the video. But yeah, no, I definitely am more on the performer side of things. It gets a little strenuous sometimes, like being director, writer, and starring in them. I wish I sometimes had a little writers team to work with, but I lean heavy into my performance background more so than my writing background. But it's been a lot of fun to flex that muscle over the past year because I just was like, nothing to lose. And just trying to make people smile. It's been fun, but yeah, definitely more focused on the performance side of things than the writing side of things. Okay. Sure. Yeah, I mean, I am literally stealing my format from Tracy Ullman. If you are aware of who Tracy Ullman is, very influential, and I should not have been watching it as a child, but Tracy Takes On was a show on HBO in the late 90s, and it's literally her. She has a topic for the week, and then she does just a cavalcade of characters talking about the topic. Brilliant character work. You could never get away with it today. A lot of it is very, very inappropriate because she's British and they don't have the same cultural background that we did in the late 90s for stuff. But she's an amazing character actress and she, obviously had a team of people, but that idea, that thing where it's vignettes, it's like a little insight into people's lives while they're talking about one specific thing. I think in our society today, because you really have like 5 minutes of people's attention span at most, to just kind of like, keep going back and forth from different characters. I love that. If I had my way, I would love to do a cabaret where you get a little audience participation, maybe a little stand up, a little sketch, a few songs from each of the characters, have people come out and perform, their stuff in between, like costume changes and stuff like that. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Oh, Lord, I have no idea. I already know all the songs that the ladies would sing, though. I listen to a lot of jazz standards at home. So it wouldn't be a lot of modern music. It would be mostly like old timey, like Great American Songbook type stuff.
Okay. One thing I was wondering, so Tom and I actually both come from an improv background.
Okay.
We've been doing improv together for like a decade now. Yeah. And so one of the things I've always liked about working with people with an acting background like Tom is that you guys know how to hold a character a lot better than people who are more comedy based coming into it. And you're doing a lot of really strong characters, you're doing multiple takes, you're doing different jokes. What are like some of your like tips for someone who's trying to learn, how to do something character based and how to like hold that character as you go through the whole creative process?
Huh. That's a great question. It really is. I think it, like you said, it definitely helps having a theater background because you're on stage in front of people for X amount of time and like you really, you're acting. For me, it really comes down to like a lot of the physicality, the voice. I start with the voice first, as you can tell. I've done some voiceover in my day. And to me, like the voice sets the tone for everything because people listen as well as I think they equally listen as well as they watch. But you start with like the hands and like you start with like your facial you ticks. You start with everything. You really do have to become these different women and think about their background and where they work and what they got up and did and what they're going home to. And I have physicalities for all the different characters, but you really do kind of just have to like become somebody else. And luckily with TikTok, I've been able to become people that I could create, so I can create their universe, and the universe can expand as I see fit, which is nice. But yeah, I don't know if that even answered the question.
No, I think it does. I think it does. I mean, I feel like in the past, like when I've done character work, it's always worked best for me when I had a physicality associated with it, where if I felt like the character was slipping, I kind of like pop back to like making the same motion or using a tick. So yeah, I think that's really great advice.
But also the fact that like your default sounds like is the whole voice makes so much sense as to like why you've been so successful in this medium, because I feel like any sort of film work, like if your thing is voice, is going to translate much better than if your thing is physicality, because unfortunately like the like square that you're in only goes so far, so it's harder to be physical in that confinement.
Yeah, and I mean, I also am a big people watcher, and I think that can help a lot. Like especially working on the Upper East Side helped a lot with like the the stiffness that goes along with Helen, the sternness that goes along with Helen. I grew up with a lot of like very down to earth, like middle class, Americans growing up. So like Loretta is very heavily influenced by women just like holding cigarettes and telling stories, and one like flapping out of the side of their mouth, stuff like that. And then my mom is literally Camilla, the other character that I do. So it's based on my mother. So I just channel her.
Yeah, everyone's got to do a good mom.
Yeah.
That we don't have to stick with how I phrased that. But so
once in a while you just got to do a mom.
You just got to do a mom every once in a while.
Good mom.
Yeah.
No, my mom's she's a real card. So she's a lot of fun.
Cool. It's good to hear when comedians actually like their mothers.
My mom's fucking crazy, but she's she's a good woman.
Yeah.
She's much more masculine than I am. I've put on more makeup since doing these characters than I think my mom has in her entire lifetime.
Well, maybe you could give her some tips.
I've tried. She loves when I do the Camilla cat eye up to the side. She's like, I wish I could do that.
Like you can, just a little bit blush too. I don't know. That's the thing people say in makeup world. But as things reopen and performing opportunities become more accessible, how do you feel that's going to affect your relationship with TikTok? And is that going to adjust? Maybe do you anticipate how much content you're putting out right now?
Yeah, I mean, I've slowed down a little bit just because people aren't glued to their phones the same way they were. I'm trying more to now shift using the platform that I built to try and get more back into the theater world, which I would love, and also try to like platform into television and like actually produce like written things. Obviously, I would love to perform these characters live eventually because there's a lot of people asking me about it. Yeah. But I'm not, I'm just trying to go with the flow right now. It's it's a crazy new world out there. And yeah, so hopefully I'm trying to my focus is on the fall for like a cabaret show. That's what I'd like to do, because I'm not doing these characters in New York City humidity. I'm just not. I won't do it.
But honestly, I think that by itself is a great idea that I haven't necessarily heard a lot of yet. It's just like, I've heard of YouTube stars like trying to make the bridge into like traditional stand-up. I haven't heard about TikTok yet, so that would be very interesting territory to explore as far as like
yeah, but I mean, again,
a touring show.
You know, I always say that I am a performer first and foremost instead of an actor, because I you know, I can do whatever you want me to do. You want me to do stand-up? I can do it. You want me to do these characters? I'll do it. You got a theater show? Yeah, let's bang it out.
Yeah,
TV?
I'll sit
sure,
on a cake.
let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's all good. You know, again, vaudevillian. Let's do it all, baby.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. All right. Well,
what else you got for me, Tom?
Well, I'll be honest. This is the
Tom. I didn't read these questions beforehand, by the way. I know you sent them.
That's okay. I was really nervous because I was like, "Oh shit, I'm only sending them like the day before." We normally have more time, but I've had some fucked up shit going on in my life.
We all have. It's all good, Tom. Don't worry about it.
I know. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate
just because everything else is reopening doesn't mean you need to be back to 100.
Right.
Because I sure is shitty.
Exactly.
Okay?
And I also just want to be perfectly like frank in saying that like I was never at 100% even before the pandemic.
No,
I wasn't there before. I'm not going to be there now.
Who was?
But
I baseline at a solid 60 myself, so you know.
Oh my god! But nonetheless, the same question that we also end every interview with, but it also normally takes longer. So feel free to expound upon this as much as you like.
Sure.
But what are your long-term goals as far as your pursuit of comedy, the TikTok, or like which direction you want to go with the theater? And also, this is the opportunity if you have any project coming up in the near future that you want to plug.
Yeah, no projects. Thank you for giving me that anxiety. No, you know, again, like I said, I'm kind of just riding the wave and making TikToks at my leisure. I don't really put any pressure on myself anymore to do that. I did that during the pandemic and it really burned me out hard. I would like to get back into doing professional theater because it makes me feel good. Would I do stand up again? Sure. Is it in my like top 5 goals? Not really. You know, I know people that are professional stand-up comedians. I don't think that life is for me personally. Yeah, I mean, I would love to take these characters to a live setting because I think they are made for a live setting. I think TikTok, I don't think in my mind, I don't think I made characters that should have been filmed, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I couldn't have performed them live, but they should be performed live because they're very big. They're very big, bold, brassy ladies and big characters. And they are definitely made for the stage, like most of the stuff that I do. So I would love to take them there. I would love to work on a sketch comedy show and start putting stuff out, you know, on TV, I think is my ultimate goal. But yeah, so just getting back out there and working on more professional productions instead of, you know, I don't want to ride these. I don't want to be like Helen Kumlicker, like the guy who does Dame Edna, you know, when I'm like 70 years old. I mean, God bless Dame Edna. That man has a very successful career. I mean, I'm not shitting on Dame Edna, okay? But in my mind, I don't see myself doing these characters for the rest of my life. I think they were just something that I did while I was bored and at home, and they make people laugh. And I like doing them. I like writing the sketches every week. I think of stuff, you know, for people that they might enjoy or different topics. I'd love to expand their worlds and work with other people and, you know, show Camilla's husband, show the rest of the people that work in the parks department, show Helen's children and who she interacts with. I'd like to expand their universes. Eventually, that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, really just the only goal that I ever have for myself is not going back to restaurants and working in a creative atmosphere and being happy and comfortable. That's really all that I want for myself.
Well, it sounds very attainable to me, and I personally would love to see Helen throw some gin in somebody's face at some point.
Just
So
a quick yank, just a quick jerk motion of a martini glass.
yeah, she's done it before. She'll do it again. She won't apologize ever.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
But kind of on the same thought process, I hope. But like with the idea of like expanding on their universe, do you ever feel like there will ever be a time with these characters where you feel like that's it? I have explored everything I can explore, and then like, if so, do you have any apprehensions about like dealing with any obligations that may come with like needing to continue to create Helen Cum Liquor content? That's a mouthful.
The beauty and I know that my characters are definitely over the top, but I don't think they're outrageous, if that makes sense. They're very everyday people, because that's where I find a lot of humor. Camilla is a housewife in Canarsie, Brooklyn. Loretta works every day in her parks department, and Helen is a New York socialite who, part of the beauty of her universe is that she has met everyone. Everyone wanted to be her at one point. She's met and partied with everybody.
Yeah.
So the beauty is that, we go through everyday life and things happen, and that I think the same thing happens with these characters. I'm working on a Loretta sketch right now about her ordering lunch for the office and just shooting down or criticizing people's lunch orders. Because I'm like, okay, well, that would happen in an office, So yeah, I mean, there's not really any apprehension. Sometimes if the juices just aren't flowing, it is hard. You kind of feel like you're disappointing people when they message you and they're just like, hey, we haven't heard from this character in a while, or what's going on with that? Or sometimes sketches are just supposed to be one-offs, as I call them. Like this was never meant to be a series.
Yeah.
And people are just like, I can't wait for the next one. And I'm like, there's not going to be a next one, hun.
Like, where would this go from here?
There's not going to be another one. Like, this is the joke. Like, you can't just keep repeating the joke. The game is ruined.
Yeah.
Like, we've exhausted the game in one sketch. People are like, I did one sketch about them going back in time and finding out history is really smelly. They go back to when they're signing the Declaration of Independence and they're like, holy shit. They're just like, I got too close to John Adams and I threw up. Like that. And people are like, I can't wait for the next one. Make more smelly history videos. And I'm like, well, that's it.
That was it. Those were the only smelly times.
No pun intended. Like, old historical settings would have smelled.
Yeah.
Everything smelled.
The premise has been covered. So
that's it. But it's hard sometimes. People are like, I want more of this. And I'm like, I don't have anything else for you. That was it. I'm glad you liked it though. Thank you.
Which, is I guess part of it is that you have to kind of reconcile that within yourself. Tom,
did you just yawn?
About before. Sorry, what was that?
Did you just yawn?
No, I constantly.
Are me and Rosalind taking up your time, Tom?
No, at any given point I have gas, and I will take a deep inhale to try and hide the burp that wants to come out.
To be fair, Tom did text me right before, and he's like, "It's wing night, and I'm suffering, so I'm sorry." Like,
it's midnight.
You're me, Roz.
Sorry, Tom.
Did you say it's midnight?
No, it's not
wing night. Yeah,
it's just it's a late night for me because it is anytime past 8 o'clock, which is when we have all of our shows, which explains a lot. No. I was just I was interested in like how you kind of like have to reconcile, wanting to please your community with not wanting to also burn yourself out on content, but
it's like
it did look like I yawned, so we can just move on to something else.
Yeah.
I did love, I saw that Jennifer Garner commented on one of your Instagram videos. Yeah. And then immediately like, I'm sorry, I don't want to share your content with my fans.
Well, the funny thing is, so her former Alias co-star, Marin Dungy, is so supportive and so sweet about my videos and shares them regularly. Like, I'm so blessed that this wonderful woman who has an amazing career is just like, I think your stuff's really funny. And she shared one, and then Jennifer Garner commented on like the most outrageous dick joke in the video. And everybody sent me this screenshot. I woke up and everybody was like, yo, Jennifer Garner liked the dick joke in your video. So I was like, well, Helen has to make a follow-up video. And then I was like, Jennifer, I mean, she works for Capital One and fucking Neutrogena.
Yeah.
She can't share a Helen.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I'm just glad she liked it, though. She liked it, and she liked the most outrageous joke, which I thought was the best part.
Yeah.
That is the best part. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh god. That being said, I really appreciate your time with us today.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
We are winding down to the end of our session, so I'm just gonna take a second.
And Tom's tired, so we got to wrap it up.
Oh god.
Tom's
Everybody,
sleepy.
like, somebody, like, if anything, I hope that this prompts any of our audience members watching to, like, send me 5-hour energy shots through my P.O. box, like, whatever.
Yes.
Nonetheless, we're gonna wind it down and just say, thank you so much, Sean, for hanging out with us today.
Oh, it was a pleasure kvetching with you gals.
It was a pleasure having you. It was good. And again, you can follow him on TikTok and Instagram at Sean Barry Parsons. Thank you, Roz, for being an awesome co-host as always.
Lovely meeting you, Roz.
Woo,
Yeah.
woo, woo, woo. And a big thank you to, of course, our audience for watching.
Thank you.
I'm just looking over your comments just now, and they're hilarious, and I can't wait to. Yeah, we all need to do like.
People are watching this right now. Is this live?
I mean, like, theoretically, it's Schrodinger's audience. But
No, Tom's mom watches every week.
yeah, no, she stopped. Anyway, if you want to support the stream, you can make a donation of any size at districtcomedy.io, or like, share, subscribe to our channel. That also helps. Tune in next week as we interview our next comedian, and have a good night. Goodbye!